So just leave it rolling, ignore it, doesn't exist. Anything that matters here, you, it's your show.
Actually, both of us.
Listen, that's true, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Of course. It's your show. You're the artist, you're the producer, you're the star. I'm here to assist you in the creation of the big game, the unleashment of that which lays underneath to experience that in the world. So, before obviously properly begin, just like to obviously get kind of relaxed, get settled. Is there anything you want to kind of say, kind of get off your chest? Anything that may be in the space right now?
I'm on the edge a little bit emotionally because of some stuff that's going on in the background. So if I go, yeah, that's all.
Okay, so I invite you to, if you're willing to, not leave it aside, but
it is like separate.
Yeah.
Like I this morning did a meditation and my journaling was all about like getting into the focus mindset for this. So I'll go back to this again.
Okay, so you're willing to just put that aside for this hour and a half or so?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else? Something else? No? Okay. So, just to set the table, as it were, set the context of this session. So this is a gifted, extraordinary coaching experience, primarily to assist you in creating and playing the biggest game of your life. You're the star of the show. This is going to be dictated by what it is that you want to create. During this time, we have to get what will make the biggest difference for you. Of course, I will come in and I will assist and I will guide as is my role here as a catalyst. But it's based upon what you really want. We may do some exercises. The way I coach is very intuitive. I don't plan anything. So there may be some exercises that come in the moment that may serve what you're creating. I'll ask for permission and then we'll go into it and do them. It's a totally open space. It's a space of love, grace, non-judgment. So feel free to share whatever's there for you, or to not share whatever you do not wish to share. As based on the agreements, it's the three primary principles is the way we operate here, and that's the how. And so it's honesty, open-mindedness, willingness. So the honesty, that's what it says, it is to be honest what's going on for you. Open-mindedness is being open-minded to seeing things a different way, and the willingness is the actual experimental to actually try something different. The willingness to me is action, it's not theory. So being willing is actually to do it. So you put these things together, only magic, miracles can happen. So with that, do you have any questions in regards to that? What will happen is over this next hour and a half or so, as we create the escape and beyond, when we get to the end, we'll then look at what the next step is for you, what is going to obviously make the biggest difference, and then we'll discuss that at the end.
Yeah.
So I think all the talking is done. Oh, I keep this little timer on me just so I don't have to look over there. I can just look here, so I'm aware of time. That's all. Let them move. So, another thing, we may take a break sometimes in the middle, like a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
I'll put the clock going. So this gives us 90 minutes. We'll take it from there. So first thing I like to do generally in all sessions is just take a moment of silence. Actually, something I also like to do is I like to pray at the beginning of the session. So you are open to that.
Yeah.
We do a prayer and then we'll take a moment of silence meditation. Okay. God's infinite intelligence. Thank you for bringing us here together in this possibility of creation, far beyond our thoughts. Thank you for the synchronicity, the serendipity, all the things we never could have planned that brought us together in this space. Allow us to move in a space of love, of service. Let this session be a catalyst and a ripple effect to serve people who we've never even met, never even seen, to unleash greater possibilities, love, and creativity into the world. Allow us to be honest, open-minded, and willing to cultivate this as a space for your love and your wisdom to flow through, to make the difference beyond what we can ever recognize. Just take a minute and say yourself. Okay. Go. Let's go. Let's go. You ready? All right. Let's turn up. So there were some assignments. Obviously, it was said before session. I think it'd be remiss to not talk about them or bring them in. So, what are your reflections? What do you want to kind of share from the assignments before you complete?
I think I did them in my own order. So I actually did the game first because I was already doing my own social storytelling. So the discovery proposal, I've been answering those questions for my own company. And then I did the harnessing of superpowers. And so when I did the Ikigai diagram, I was looking for the old one that I did like years ago. It's in one of my old notebooks, but I couldn't find it. But I think majority of the stuff I remembered from then in terms of when I was first tapping into my creativity before like I'd experienced so much adversity and got into a state of fear. And so it allowed me to like tap back into, oh yeah, I did like doing this and I did enjoy doing this and I'm always told I'm good at this stuff. So being able to put it all together and then add new stuff that I've, I guess, grown to love or found out that I love. And then also things that I didn't know that I could be paid for that now I'm aware of. Because again, when I started, I first learned business from the roads, and that's a very limited business model. So then to come into like this world of business, and there are different ways and different avenues and things like that, that was like important for me to put into there as well. And then that basically confirmed the plan that I had created for myself and my social storytelling. So that was really useful. And then the questions, I think, are they in here? No. I answered them in here first, but I didn't struggle with them. I think I just found it hard to put my answers into words, because it was all kind of feelings, but then those feelings were attached to fear or doubt. So I had to kind of work through those in order to answer them from a different space. So it was kind of just like bringing me out of. I just learned about the emotional cycle of change, and so it was kind of bringing me out of the valley of despair so that I can be on level 0 and then build from there, as opposed to like trying to build from underneath. So yeah, that's my reflection.
Well, there was some very clear. My sense of it, there was a lot of clarity, you know, in what you want, knowing yourself, your superpowers, your essence, your energy. Like there's a great understanding of that. That's my sense of it. So, you know, what would make the biggest difference for you, you know, in this session today? What would be the thing? What would be a miracle?
Because I don't know, like, I know that it's here to help me transform. I was going to say transition or shift into like the right energy to. I don't know. Sorry.
Well, what's the result that you want to create? What's the number one result that you want to create in your life that would make the biggest difference for you?
I think it would actually be understanding how to use my essence, in a sense, as the way that I approach business. Because a lot of who I am that I would regard as my essence, I feel like I have to protect and safeguard from the business world because it's set up in a different way to how I operate, if that makes sense. Like the business world is very capitalist. It's been based on a system that was created as opposed to like the way that I have approached business and came into it. An example, I was speaking to Zion yesterday because he reposted a video where this lady said she's not shopping at Flannels anymore because they had this advert running where they basically got like, it's like a video of Jesus and then it's him on the cross but it transforms into a robot or something. And they were saying how disrespectful that is and how they're not even like being mindful of how that's going to impact people. And I said a lot of these companies have learned how to make money off of clickbait. So they get clicks literally per views or how many times a word is mentioned and things like that. So of course they're going to do stuff to trigger you because it's been built off of emotional manipulation and getting a rise out of people as opposed to actually giving them what they need or trying to connect with them on a deeper level. They could have done a campaign to do with Jesus. No one's saying that they can't, but they could have done it in a way that was respectful where they know that so many people like look to Jesus as their savior and their Lord. So they don't really want to see what they're doing with it, but yeah, essentially.
Can I ask a question again? What's the number one result? Maybe I have to define result, right? A result is something that exists in the form that did not exist before. So, you know, I mean, I think you get it. Okay, this session is a result, right?
Yeah.
Didn't exist before. Now we're having it. It's a result. Create the result, right? Now, how we create the result, that's a different story. So when you told me about, okay, understanding how my essence, how I can bring that into the business, well, that's like a how, but what for? Like, what is the result then that you actually want to create?
I have a counter question.
Okay.
What is the purpose of the session? Because I'm not entirely sure.
The purpose of the session is to create the biggest game of your life. The game is about results. The result is not the be-all and end-all, but the result is to create the expanded context that you're living into.
Yeah. I know what I wanted to use this session, like what result I wanted to achieve that this session is kind of setting me up for. But in terms of the actual result from this session, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
So what's the result? Say that bit again.
I want to make 50K.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why would this session not assist you in doing that?
No, because you said like right now. That's what I thought you meant by the end of today.
Okay.
What do you want the result to be? That's why I didn't say
I see
that,
what you're
because that's
saying.
more like a
I see what you're saying.
after.
Yeah. No, but this
But
is.
if I can use that as my result,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, that's the result.
It's making my egg.
Correct. So when you say 50K, okay, it's by when? Or what's your
I'm gonna say by March, which is in 6 months, and also my birthday.
okay. So that's the result you want to create in your life, okay, in general.
Yeah.
So what could be useful today, or actually let me frame it like this. What do you see is currently in the way of you creating that result?
It's something to do with somewhere between like social anxiety, discernment, and like creating meaningful connections. So all of those things.
Well, let me actually reframe that. Why haven't you created that result already?
Social anxiety,
Yeah.
social anxiety, discernment, and creating meaningful connections.
Okay. And in like specifically, where does that get in the way of you creating this result? Like, if you used to give a specific example, a specific situation.
So on the front of like working with customers and clients, a lot of the work I do, so if we start with my waist beads, it's about building confidence, which means that we have to start from your insecurities. And a lot of people are triggered by the truth, but in a way that they can't really handle or that they don't really appreciate. So it's like a very select few who are aware of it and trying to work on it. But then there's the majority who maybe are aware of it, but they're scared. Because of that dynamic, I could go for the small group of people who are actively doing that, but then they're still going to come into contact with those people, if that makes sense. So it's one of those things that, like, I don't know, I think I get scared to trigger people.
Okay.
So yeah, because I often do it by accident and I don't know until I'm receiving verbal abuse. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll get in the way. What does that stop you from doing? What does that cost you?
It stops me from actually like communicating what I'm observing, which means I can see the root of the problem, but I can't really address it because they're not willing to address it, if that makes sense. So then how do I then come in and this is interesting. Sorry. I'm doing the training on sales funnels at the moment. And obviously going through the user journey, I think I was trying to sell the whole experience to someone instead of recognizing where someone is and giving them what they need at that point in time. And that could be an introduction to the whole thing, but only if they're ready for it. It could just be a note or a comment about something. An example, I was on the bus and I saw this girl and she had a skirt on and she had scars on her leg. And I'll be honest, they looked like they were self-harming scars. And I used to have self-harming scars. I tattooed over them. And so I said to her, thank you for wearing your scars because I never see people do that. And I covered mine. And she was like, I was literally just talking to my mum about getting tattoos to cover hers. But even in me, like seeing her, the way that I saw it is beautiful. She couldn't see it that way. And so her thank you wasn't really like it was just like a thanks because she said I'm beautiful. But it was still it's deep stuff. And so I want to be mindful about how I approach it. And that's where I feel like sometimes the business side conflicts for me. But then I do need to step into being able to sell because otherwise I'm not going to make any money. And that's probably why I'm here.
Do you know what diagnosis is? You know, if you don't properly diagnose, you don't diagnose something, then any solution that you create is not going to be appropriate. So the first thing you have to do is become aware to the problem. Now, I want to go to top level and go like, okay, this is, I can just tell you the thing, but no, we'll go simple with it. Like, what I hear in that is that other people's opinions, perceptions, has an impact on you.
Kind of. This morning in my journal, I wrote down that like we're all the same, and the thing that actually makes us different isn't our culture, it's our choices. And I feel like culture is made up of like choices made by a collective of people over time. And because of that, let's say for example with my waist beads work, it's about empowering women. But a lot of people, like even myself, a lot of women have been raised disempowered already because we're raised to believe that we should work on our aesthetics so that we can get a good husband and he's gonna look after everything. And so even stepping out and being like, no, I'm gonna do it by myself, you face so much backlash for that. And a lot of people don't think that it's right. There's all these rhetorics about strong women and hyper independence and all of that stuff. And it's true, but sometimes it's circumstance as well because they don't wanna put themselves in that rhetoric. And on the other side of it, there's like the toxic narrative of, oh, men should be providers and I'm not saying that it's not true, but because of that and the pressure that it actually carries and the fact that they haven't been allowed to express that, I feel like it comes out in toxic ways and it's creating this dynamic. But this has been going on for so long. Like when I think of I want to help these women, am I really just going to go and help so many women get divorces because their husbands are actually not respectful to them? I have an auntie who her husband wouldn't let her work at first. And to me, that's not fair because now when he's cheating or when he's doing this and when he's doing that, she can't go anywhere, she can't do anything because she's literally dependent on him. And so these are like serious things that it's not just opinions, it's actually like societies have been built off of these narratives. So yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot. What's that like? What's that like carrying all of that?
It's really hard because my auntie hates me because I know the truth of it and she doesn't want to face the truth of it because she has to be in it. And I'm a baby, so I don't know, sometimes I feel helpless and I don't even know if I can help. And sometimes I feel childish because I'm like trying to get other people to tap into their inner child, but then they've been told to be an adult. They've had to deal with things that they didn't really want to as well. And so yeah, maybe I have a problem with people taking me seriously. And that as well, because I'm so kind, a lot of people think I'm a dickhead. I'm not a dickhead. It's only until it's too late that they find out that. So yeah, it doesn't have to start telling them. You know, I used to be on the road flag. That's actually not. But yeah. I had a feeling there'll be times I just didn't know.
You called it. Release. There's a lot coming to me. I'll put it out to you. What do you want to go? I've got some options. Like one part there's a teaching. We can do a little teaching because there's an understanding that I think could be useful. Be very, very useful for this situation as well.
Yeah.
2 is a bit of creating. And that's what I've got right now.
I think we should do teaching and creating.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking the same thing.
It makes sense.
Do you want me to sit down or do you want me to go to the whiteboard?
Let's do what?
Let's do whiteboard. Okay. You're gonna go to ground 0, okay? I'm just gonna give a simple understanding of the mind. Which we call Inside Out.
Like the movie?
Like the movie. Okay, inside out understanding. So this is also, known as the three principles. Being is another term from it, but I don't want to get too deep into the science. But a very simple premise is that everything is created through us, right? From the inside out. That it's not what's happening on the outside that is creating it, it's the way I am seeing it, the way I'm experiencing it. And I experience that through my thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So these are three just truths, right? We all have thoughts. We all feel. We all have consciousness. So we all have the ability to be aware of our thoughts that we're thinking. And then we all have a mind, as in we're connected to a universal mind. I'll probably just call it oneness, is a better way to say it, right? That everything that is created comes from nothing, right? Like at a point in time, this building did not exist. Okay?
Yeah.
It wasn't here. So it's formless, now it's in form. At one point in time, I wasn't here, you wasn't here, in form. Everything comes from nothing, as in the no thing, as in the thing that we can't see, but that we know exists. So everything is connected. If it comes from nothing, it doesn't disconnect, it's all connected. It's just saying we come from nothing and we shall return to nothing. We're born and we shall surely die and return to that God, whichever anyone choose to call it.
Is that how they say energy can't be destroyed, only transformed?
Only transformed. So these three truths, this is a truth nobody could argue with. This is just principles. Principles are just what is. Gravity is a principle. You don't have to believe in it. It just is. All what these form is that these form our experience of life. Right now, you're creating me using these principles. I'm creating you. You have a thought. You're thinking about me in certain ways. Your consciousness is giving life, awareness to those thoughts, and this mind, this oneness, this energy is giving that vibrance, right? And it's putting in color, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Right? So the beauty of this, just to link it to what you were sharing, is that there's a very, very simple fundamental principle to change. You're a very caring person, very heart-centered person. I mean, I've seen you around with people as well, so I've seen it firsthand. Now, we talked about the superpowers, right? Like the same time, the superpowers, same time they can go all over the place. The beauty about that, though, that care is that in the spirit of oneness, in the principle of oneness, everything is connected. If you change, everything around you changes. So you don't have to change somebody else. Because this is just the principle, it's a principle of oneness, the principle of being. If you change, everything around you will just change. People will change, people will interact with you differently. Or not at all, yeah. You've probably had this in your life, right? Where you've made a change, you've made a resolve, an internal shift to do something differently, and there's people who just fall away. We could also call, all of this we could call vibration, frequency. You shift your frequency, the people who are at the same level will attract, the people who will fall away. So why this has come up for me to share, and so I'll get your reflections after this, is that when you're thinking about others and I want to say this with them, but I'm not sure how they'll respond, or they're going through this, and if I tell them this and then they go and do this, what's the impact that's going to have on their life? None of that is your responsibility. Like, none of that is your job. Your job is always the internal, on you. If you shifted,
I had to report my cousin for abusing me this week, and none of my family know. When they find out, I can't control what they're gonna do or say. And he just got married, and she doesn't know. So I'm thinking about that as well. But yeah.
That's. Do you ever heard this saying? There's a saying from, it's in Shakespeare, I think it's Hamlet. It says, to thine own self be true.
Mm-hmm.
To thine own self be true. Because if thou is true to thyself, as night follows day, thou could never be false to any other man. Your role is to be true to yourself. And you can never then lie to anybody else. You can never fundamentally impact anybody else. So everything that's out, there's another exercise that we might do. Anything that's outside of your role, you will start to see that when you have those thoughts of like kind of frustration, anxiety, what that's telling you is that you're focusing on a job that's not yours. People might think, well, that's harsh to say. I mean, shouldn't we think about other people, care about other people? It's like, well, yes, I can care about them from the inside, but actually the biggest way I can care about people is caring about myself. And there's a lot of work over here to do.
That's true.
Thinking about over there's a lot of work going on over here. And actually, sometimes that's an innocent deflection. Is to think, oh, I'm such a caring person, I'm thinking about others, and that's a deflection to not think about yourself. What's coming up for you so far?
I have a serious problem thinking about myself because of my childhood and my upbringing. I had young parents and they put their emotions on me a lot. I became like their crutch very early on. My mum had schizoaffective disorder and no one really knew except for me because I was the only one living with her. And so I kind of took on the responsibility of making sure she's okay. Even up until like this year is when I'm trying to stop. Same thing with my dad, where his whole life he kind of just blamed everything on everyone else, down to if my dad had to feed me, he would blame me. So I kind of have this thing of like not being in the way, but also making sure everyone else is okay. And that over the last couple of years, I've been trying to break out of. So, yeah.
The past does shape you, does shape me. It's no doubt about it. You go through that. Just to simplify this, you know it's everywhere, right? But you go through those things, you develop an identity, right, to survive, to get through those things. The best wisdom works in the best way you know how at that time. So this way of being is a wisdom that you developed at that time because that's the way you knew how to get through it for yourself and for others. But what happens is that those ways of being, as you get older, they're not useful anymore. They're actually ineffective in this new area, this new arena of business. But you can harness, there is an essence there, right, to harness. Because caring about people in business, well, that's a great thing, right? But over caring, as it were, or putting that's not, it's just not useful, it's just not effective. So that becomes the question of, how do you harness that now? Because that's not going away.
I think that was the question or the result that I wanted to create from this session in terms of understanding how to harness my essence without throwing it everywhere.
I got another exercise for you. This one's a little picante, you know what I'm saying?
What's picante?
It's spicy.
Oh, I didn't know that. And I'm learning Spanish. Yeah, and I have an A-star in Spanish.
Oh, you have hablo español?
Poquito.
It's bad.
I'm back in the gym like go so
Who's my man out there anyway? He's from Colombia. That's my guy. Anyway, killer room. Yes. I call this. This is it's like shadow work. Let me get my phone because I wanna do it
That's fine.
properly.
That could even be enough for the recording, honestly.
Yeah.
I've heard twice.
It's 30 minutes.
No. I would just say my Pisces.
Yeah, you was born in the water.
Literally.
That's the listen. You harness the water. Jeez.
It's my element.
Those oh goodness. The water. Those guys do something different. They bring the feeling. They bring the feeling, and the feeling is everything. The feeling is everything in the power. You harness the feeling. You start to become more aware, like so the water doesn't wash you away. You just start to flow with the water more and more. That's different. You jump the boundaries of time when you should flow with the water, because water is one of the most, I think it's one of the most still misunderstood, elements, as it were. So this is actually a very watery exercise, I must say. So this is what I call the fear exploration process. Okay, so we're really going to look at what is the fear, right? What's in the way? We're going to name it. Okay, I'm just going to ask you some questions. Get around it. Everything that we say here, nothing is the truth. It's not the ultimate truth. Once we finish, you're free to leave aside what you don't like, keep what you like, whatever. Okay, this is just to explore, to play, and to see what does resonate. But often in times with fear, I know it's like we're running away from it rather than actually being with it, sit with it. Is that okay? So, what's the one thing that you don't want people to see you as?
Sorry, I'm gonna say what came in my head. SX icon.
No, not that.
No, quite literally. Okay, not a sex icon, but I don't want them to see me in that way.
Okay. So what, if you was to define it as a way of being, what is it that you don't want people to see?
Promiscuous, we'll say that.
Okay. In regards to your relationship with people.
Often or not, especially in music, but it's happened to me in other realms of business as well, and just other realms of life. Because I smile, because I'm kind, because I have a big bum, automatically they just think it's that, and so they do things that they shouldn't do. And so it makes me feel like I'm in danger or at risk of failure. And so in year 9, was the last time I performed until 2023. And it was because some rumors started going around about me and boys. And so everyone had this perception of me. And so I was on stage singing, and I could see people pointing and laughing, and I started crying on stage, and I ran off, and I never went back on again until I was 23. And then the same kind of thing happened again, because I started doing music because I was dating an artist. And then people started pointing fingers and spreading rumors and all of those things again. And it just really frustrates me because they won't see me for my talent or for any of that stuff. Or even, they was talking about my abuse. And that's why, and my family told me that my abuse was my fault. So all of those things, it's like, I feel like if anyone does see me in a promiscuous way, it's my fault. Maybe I dressed a certain way, maybe I looked at them a certain way. And then it makes me feel like they're going to hurt me. And there's going to be no one there to defend me, or people are going to say that it's my fault anyway. So that's literally the big fear of being seen.
You need to go a little deeper because it's something that being seen as promiscuous means. What would that mean about you if people saw you that way?
Maybe that I was lying about my abuse, even though I wasn't, but people think I do.
So people think you're a liar?
Yeah. And I think, no, yeah, I think the fear is actually people thinking I'm a liar, not just a promiscuous thing, because that is the same thing with the embrace situation, where again, I did it, there's so many aspects to this. I did it to help my community because of what I'd seen in the charity sector of people like not actually caring about the kids but still taking the money, hiding budgets or lying on budgets and then doing what they wanted with the money, things like that. And then also I did it like with the guy that I was dating and his family. He was in jail. And so obviously he can't work and he loves his family and I was around them and his mum let me stay with them when I was homeless and all of these things. So I was kind of like trying to build with them. Again, everyone had their own motives of why they was around me, which is the social anxiety discernment and meaningful connections. And then they just called me a liar and everyone believed them and everyone in Coventry stopped speaking to me and the network I had been building for years and the community that I was a part of that I like finally felt at home at, it was just gone.
So is it liar? And then I might be pointing at something.
You are.
Is it fraud?
Oh yeah, I used to do fraud as well. And it is a thing of like me seeing my dad. My dad's a notorious liar. And he's like, he robs Peter to pay Paul, if that's the saying, to get stuff done. Lived off of women majority of his life, whether it be his mum, wife, girls, whatever, me. And then when I'm at my mum's, she literally says that I'm my dad. And so I don't think I've changed or I don't know.
So is it fear being seen as, I'm gonna throw out some words now, you tell me which one.
Okay.
Alright. It's liar, being seen as a liar, being seen as a fraud, fake, inauthentic, selfish.
Especially selfish.
I can feel it. But you don't care about him, you just care about yourself.
And it's really the opposite. Like I care too much about everybody else. So yeah.
So it's selfish. Okay.
I should say, when I started doing fraud and bugging up and stuff, actually, to be fair, the first time I ever like started dabbling in fraud was I was working at McDonald's. Both me and my best friend was working at McDonald's, and she started. I'll be so honest with you. She started stealing, like taking pictures of her colleagues' bank cards and then ordering stuff. So I started doing the same thing. I didn't do it for that long. But even so, like I felt bad because I'm going to work and I'm seeing these people. So I stopped. Then when I was at uni, obviously I had different friends everywhere and there were some people who did fraud, so they'll come and show me to do this or do that. It wasn't until 2020, I was moving, it was the end of 2020. 2020, I had significant success in my business, to me anyway. I made like £1,000 in 2 days, which I'd never done before, from like £4 waist beads. So it was loads of orders. I made 5K overall that year, and I'd never even made that kind of money before. I started working at McDonald's for £5 an hour. And so I didn't see it at the time, but my parents became my best friend. And so my dad drove me to uni. And when we got to my accommodation, he sat me down and he said, Ebony, I think that you need to start thinking about like saving to pay for my house deposit now. And it put a lot of pressure on me because I thought that that was something that I had to do. And so that's when I started doing fraud and doing bagging up drugs and working with the man and doing all of those things. And then when I came back from uni, and I sat with my dad, because also, even though he put that pressure on me, on the other side, when I first started my business, he told me to quit because I'm not going to achieve anything. So it's this thing of, you don't want to support me, but you do want to eat the fruits. I come back from uni and I'm broken. I've come back after Embrace. I'm completely broken. I've told my family about my abuse literally the week before Embrace, because the people I was working with asked me, why are you so insecure? And I was like, I don't know. And then I had to think about it, and then I thought back to my abuse and the fact that I never said anything and all these things. And that I've always isolated myself from a young kid. When I was like 4, I started putting my hands in fire. Sorry, I know this is like not exactly to do with business, but it's all encompassing. Especially because I'm doing social storytelling, and this is what I mean. Like, so I came back from uni. Oh yeah, obviously when I told my dad about my abuse, he said it's my fault, and I'm just trying to make him seem like a monster, blah blah blah. So my dad just never. That was always his thing as well. Whenever I said, "Oh, you've upset me," or "I don't like this," you just want me to be a monster. I'm like, okay, where's the fun? I'm on the phone to him. I remember this day so clearly. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie. Because of the principles that you've raised me on, I went to uni and I got robbed, I got raped, I got held at gunpoint. Like, all of these things happened to me because of how, like, you kind of set up my giving and how I should give. To the point where my dad didn't just do it as, oh, you should give it to me because I'm your dad. Because of how kind and caring I am, my dad would use that to get what he wanted. That's how I ended up doing fraud. My dad opened a bank account for me and my stepsisters, they didn't have papers and stuff, in a different name to my name. I don't know. But he's now said that it's my fault. And I just remember screaming at him. And then, like, sitting with the fact that, of course, I'm the one that made these choices, but now the people who even influenced me to do that are making it seem like they had no part in it, and they just did it on her own because she wanted to do that. And so I'm treated as selfish, because if I want to protect, I don't know.
You want to keep going? It's deeper.
I know.
Selfish fraud.
Doing fraud was selfish because it's taking money from someone else, especially the type of fraud that I was doing. So yeah.
We're gonna go somewhere where it may seem counterintuitive, but you open to go. Let's say you are selfish. If you were selfish, if you knew yourself to be selfish, you are selfish.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? Like, what would that mean for you? As in, what would that mean about the way you see yourself if you knew yourself as selfish?
Right now, I'll probably be proud of myself. But if I was to see myself as selfish,
if other people knew you were selfish and you just saw that in yourself,
yeah,
what would that mean for you?
I think it would actually make me feel more empowered, because now I actually have stuff to lose and to protect. And so the way in which I've been selfless, someone would come and take everything from me. And they did try to. So I'd literally just be proud. And I would probably feel safer because then people would be less likely to try me.
Well, that's gonna head a few steps, and I get where that's coming from. But we go to where you started from in regards to, wanting to share about your business and what you're doing, but that disconnect, as it were, because of this fear. This is one of the fears, anyway, of being seen as selfish. Staying with that, what would that mean for you if that was true?
I guess I don't know. I wouldn't expect people to want to work with me if I was selfish.
What else?
I don't know. Because to me, I'm trying to be more selfish, and that to me means I don't want to talk to my dad today because he's probably gonna say something like horrible. Or I don't want to. My friend invited me to her birthday today in Coventry. I don't want to go. I'm really tired, and this week has taken a lot out of me emotionally.
Are you going?
No, I'm not going. A lot of people already think I'm selfish because as I've been going through this stuff the last couple of years, obviously I couldn't be around. And I didn't want to speak about it because you're even going to pity me or you're going to clown me. And that was literally the two dynamics that was in between. And so I just had to go through it on my own. And that's been kind of going on since I was 17.
I actually don't think it's selfish. I think that's part of it. I think it's a fraud. I think that's more. It's my perception anyway. I think that's more actually.
Maybe because I was scared that I couldn't deliver results as well.
Yeah, I think that's more the one that. Yeah. So if you was a fraud, you're a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
What's the end result of that for you? Where does that lead to for you in your life? Being a fraud.
It's gonna sound so dramatic about suicide. I actually can't live like that. I can't.
Yeah. That's. No, I'm smiling. I'm not scared, but I'm like, no, that's. I was born in the dark. It really exists,
Literally.
Oh, baby. Suicide. Yeah. So, tell me more.
I would feel like not only that people couldn't trust me, but I couldn't trust people. And maybe that is a part of my discernment and trusting, because it's just weird. The reason why I ended up doing fraud is because I trusted the people that I was around, but because I'm used to being around those kind of people. I basically grew up as a bando baby. I was around guns, I was around gang members, I was trying to build a zoo when I was 1. It's so normal to me. I didn't know weed was illegal until I was 11. That life. And I thought, when I was at school, I thought every black person came from the same kind of background or environment. So I thought it was all around that stuff. So I would just talk about it normal. That was the thing as well, where I'm very open about it. And because of that, you get called a snitch and all of these things. And then it's kind of who my loyalty was to. And my loyalty wasn't to my family. Once I decided in 2022 or 2021 that I wasn't going to do anything illegal anymore, people tried to keep pushing me back in that direction. First it was my ex, and he was abusive anyway. But he would, you used to do this stuff for the man, then why won't you got a shot for me? Okay, emotional manipulation, cool. Broke up. I can't stand that stuff anyway. Then it's my family. My uncle slash what? They found this shit. So obviously, if they find him, he's gonna get bagged. He's giving me the SIM cards for his line. I threw it in a bin because I'm just like, why are you still trying to get me involved in this stuff? And months later, he asked me for it back, and I literally had a panic attack for a week because you know where I live. I'm in your sister's house, and I've thrown away your line, which is your source of income, and you're a hothead, and I've had dreams about you stabbing me since I was a kid, and so I'm literally panicking because I can't go anywhere. I don't have money to fly somewhere or book a hotel, or what did my friend call it? My friend that I'm staying with, she calls it Vex money. She has money just in case she needs to book a hotel or something or go and take space. But I didn't have that. I couldn't go anywhere, and so anything could have happened to me. When I told my dad that my cousin abused me when I was growing up, he threatened to beat me up. So, yeah.
So, if you were fraud, you would be alone and it would lead to suicide.
Yeah.
So I just want you to sit with that feeling, and now I want you to try it on, to embrace it, no pun intended.
They already did that. When after Embrace, the people that I worked with that I brought onto my project stole my idea and told everyone I was a fraud, and now they're doing their own festival this year.
No,
and they did my
I want you to forget about anybody else.
No, but this is what I've already had to experience that with feeling it over the last couple of years, which is why I'm in therapy sessions with suicide prevention cases.
Well, we're gonna just temporarily. We're just playing with it. There's nothing. It's the ultimate truth here. But just sit with that, like you're a fraud.
Yeah, I would say just like my parents.
So, what does that feel like? What does that feel like to be a fraud?
Like I'm settling, like I know I can be better, but I'm not being more. Like I'm lazy. Like I'm greedy. Like I'm selfish.
When something like being a fraud is a fear, right? Fear to be seen as that. What it usually creates is that you try to not be that. That's one side of it. So the next question is, what have you gained by not being a fraud, or by trying to not be seen as a fraud? What has that given you in your life?
Those are two different things to me. One, by actually not being a fraud anymore, I have peace. I have more fulfillment because I know I'm not fucking anybody over. And I have, I don't know what to call it, maybe clarity. Because again, when there was loads of people around me. I had a friend that I lived with, especially at that time that I was doing fraud and whatever. She was around, she was there to drink the bottle, she was there, like I was the one doing all of that. I don't even want to go into it, but that was me. And I will give her money for whatever she needed. We lived together, we was friends. I've decided to leave Cove earlier than our tenancy ended, like a month or two earlier, because I don't want to be around it anymore. Like I'm actually I had quit my business and then started it back up again. And then again, been trying to draw away from that stuff because there was just a lot going on. And then she's messaged me and she's literally said like, I would say that she called me a fraud, but she called me selfish. That was it. She just said I wasn't thinking about her when I was doing all of that stuff and all of that. For me, I understood where she was coming from, and so I said fair enough, and that was the end of our friendship. But I also did express to her that I never did anything without, like, behind your back or without, I never not gave you a choice. because that's how I am as well. Obviously, I have to remember that that stuff is not normal to her. I grew up seeing my uncle, like, he would laugh at something and a dot of crack would fall out of his mouth. So I'm just kind of used to it. Whereas she wasn't really used to it, but they get excited by it. And then when it's done, that's when they actually say how they feel about it. So the clarity of like, okay, no one's around me just because rather man and rate me, or I got bread to do this and this, or it's not even that I had the bread, like I was very given with it. I didn't mind. Money was never that deep.
Well, let me slightly rephrase the question as well, because the answer you're giving is like, okay, what's it like to not be a fraud? The question I'm more asking is like, what's it like when you're trying to not be that thing when you are?
It's like walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't want anyone to find out, but it's like I'm trying to disarm the perception that they have of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you lose when you're trying to not be seen as that?
I think my sight, like literally. So because I'm so worried about how they're perceiving me, I'm not even looking at them and what angle they're coming to me at. And I've had to learn that the hard way, which is why when you said yes to working with me after you said no, so like I would rather tell you the truth and you make a decision and you say no and I can respect it. And then when you changed it, that's why I was like, wow, why what? Because in the end, they're clout chasers. They don't do stuff that's true to them. They do stuff that's like in trend or that's popular that they think is gonna, and people don't normally clock me until after. Like you can spend a whole weekend with me and then it'll be like a week later and be like, wow, Ebony actually or what she said here or blah blah blah. So yeah.
So is it like balance perspective? It's like because you're focusing on yourself, your perception when people's perceiving you.
Yeah.
You maybe lose sight of kind of the objective perception of what someone else is saying.
Yeah.
Is that
it's like I think so. Well, I'm trying to think, yeah. Because there's I'll say like two groups of people that I tried to work with or that, yeah, from relationships. So there's the ones who have never been on the road before. And they don't even know what that experience would feel like. But they do have perceptions of what it is. Like I was on the bus the other day and this lady was talking about how these drug dealers in her area are blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool, I hear it. So there's them. And I think that's where I would be hyper aware of, like, I don't want them to think that the cunningness, the deception, and all of that stuff that maybe used to be present in me is still there because I don't feel like I need to live my life in that way. I literally, that's how I did embrace. Because I had to realize I was just coming from a disempowered state. I only took from people because I didn't know that I could have for myself. I started stealing when I was 5. Because I wanted a book from the book sale at school, and my parents said I couldn't get it, and I really wanted that book. In secondary school when I was stealing, it wasn't just like for fun or for thrill. I put on a lot of weight, and no one would buy me new clothes. My dad would send me to my mum. My mum was selling my stuff to buy weed. So like, it's like I over-explain. Trying to get them to understand me or trying to get them to change their judgment of me. And then with the other group, I try to show them that they don't have to be the way that they are or that we can change, because a lot of people who have transitioned from the roads to legit are still operating as if they're on the roads. Which is why I will be sitting with a producer who's been in the music industry for 50 something years, and he's speaking about someone who he has a friendship with. And he's saying, oh yeah, well, she's sick, so I can get a good deal out of her. This is not a crack patient. Like, she's a vocal trainer. She, in her head, she's just thinking, he's trying to help me pay my medical bills, and you're just here. Just thinking about the money of it, because again, he's in that survival mode, but he hasn't been able to break the actual mindset of it. And so I try and do that, but then they do this thing of, oh, she thinks she's better than us. Then I get into the over-explaining of, oh no, this is actually where I come from, and it's like I'm trying to cling on to who I used to be to show them that I'm still real, and then I'm trying to show them that I'm not fake. So yeah.
It sounds like you lose like authenticity and power. You're trying to explain over here, trying to fit in over here.
Yeah.
Not be. It's like a constant dance. It's a constant like chess game.
I know that I don't fit anybody's expectation of me. I'm too smart for the roads, and I'm too road for this smart people. But I'm hyper aware of that and how it can make people feel, especially because I'm a girl as well. So on top of like just this being my being, to a lot of people, a girl isn't supposed to be like this. I've been in conversation with like, or guys are speaking about politics or something. I'll go to say something, and they're obviously way older than me. They're African men, and they're just like, who is this little girl talking? Like, excuse me, the wives are in the kitchen, and I'm like, babe, I'm not anyone's wife. Like, I'm just here. So yeah, it's mad.
That's good to be aware of. What have you got? What have you got from it? You know, what have you got from being a fraud?
I think that's a good question. From being a fraud, I've got headaches. Not joking, I giggle. No, but actually, just a lot of overthinking.
Oh, listen.
And a lot of.
Be true. Tell me what have you got from it? Like you've got something from it.
Criticism. So I'm more inclined to take criticism than I am a compliment.
Okay.
I've got a deep sense of guilt.
I want to hear about the games. Tell me what.
Oh, from being a fraud?
Yes.
Adaptability. Mm-hmm. So being able to fit into different environments and spaces and speak to different people. Understanding. Again, remember, I used to think it was just black people who come from the hood. So now when I'm in Coventry, basically before I decided to quit, it was it was a crossroads. It was either, because I was always half in, half out. Remember, I'm at uni studying at this point. So it was either quit the stuff, go back to London and just focus on your business. I wasn't even going to go back to uni. Just focus on your business. Or go and invest in this crop yard with my friends. My friends and this Albanian guy. And I'm not used to that. Even like the guys I was doing fraud with, they was all Somalian. And they was like my first. I don't know why this is relevant. But it just gave me the different context of how people end up in this. And also that dynamic of like power. So I understand the masculine a lot differently to a lot of other people because I know where the insecurity is coming from now and how you're handling that, whether it be through, well, I'm a drug dealer and people are literally dependent on me, like they need their drugs, or I have this gun and you're not going to talk if I point a gun at you, like that. So it actually gave me a strength in a way because I had to learn to protect myself and look after myself. It's a job out there. It's dog eat dog. There's no loyalty between anything or anyone, to the point where like the first guy that I ever spoke to, I ended up meeting him on the phone and we spoke for a year. I was like 15. He was in a bando with my friend's second boyfriend. So we used to do 4-way calls, but then her boyfriend, when she was with her first boyfriend, obviously her second boyfriend is calling me. He's like, where's Cheryl? I'm like, I don't know. I think she's at her dad. Her dad is strict. He takes her phone, blah, blah, blah. That's what she told me to tell him. She's a hoe anyway. What are you saying? I'm like, where's your loyalty? Like, that's your babe. Like, you already know I'm speaking to Shaq. that was like the first thingy of it. I actually ended up finding out that Shaq ended up, sorry, too much information, but Shaq ended up taking my virginity. Then he went to jail. And then when he was in jail one day, I was writing to him. I wrote him a letter and I said, you don't like any of my friends anyway. And he wrote me back. And that's when he told me 3 years later that there was a day in secondary school, like 10 months before he's taking my virginity, that my friend went to go and see him. Fine. They both told me nothing happened, but she fucked him. But then she still convinced me to go and lose my virginity to him. So this is what I mean in terms of loyalty and seeing the dynamic of friendships. And even, like, a lot of stuff is shady there. So someone will say something to you and it's not actually a compliment. So now I can see that in other dynamics as well and how that impacts how they show up to their life.
So it's like an understanding you have. It's what I was getting from that. It's a sharpness. Like, you know, you can't be. You know,
I'm attention to every single detail in every single room because I have to.
Yeah. You heard there's some regulators.
Yeah.
What kind of regulators? Warren G. Nick Dove. Regulators. Anyway, there's the first bit in the song is from a movie. I can't remember what the movie's called. And the guy said, you know, regulators. You know, you got to be equipped with the heat. You know? Can't be no geek on the street. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta be, you know what I mean?
Say that to the biggest man from the end.
Yeah, but it's more in the saying of like you gotta have your eyes open out here. I know. Because if you not, yeah, nothing is as it seems.
Good point.
So from what I'm getting, everyone's a fraud.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna come out here and lay things on the table, you're gonna get taken advantage of. Like it's happened to you. So you have to be a fraud. You have to keep some things close to your chest. You have to observe what's going on. You have to be sharp. You have to have that intensity.
You know what? I don't even think I have to be a fraud though. I think I just have to be more selfish. Because before, it was a thing. Embrace was literally, guys, we don't have to do that.
Well, what I'm saying in a fraud sense is that, like, in a sense of, here's what I want to say, but if I say that in this environment, I'll get taken advantage of. So, yeah. And so I have to act like this. I have to act like this to survive. Yeah. I cannot reveal everything. Because if I reveal, then, so that's what I mean by the selfish fraud. It's interchangeable. Right? Like I have to keep my, I have to have that intensity. I have to have that shot. I have to have my wits about me. I have to be dancing out here. Because there's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot. We may 3 people be sitting here, but there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, even us in the room, that we're not aware to.
So I should say, I think that was the big shock for me in terms of moving from the streets to being legitimate and finishing uni and going into my first, like, we'll call it a corporate job as a project coordinator, and seeing that they're operating in the exact same way, but it's just legal. Because they have their ways of ducking under hair and doing this and filling out this and all of that stuff. I don't know.
So it's interesting that when he said, you know, when I asked, what did you lose? What do you lose by trying not to be, you know, fraud? And he said, overall, it was like, I lose kind of authenticity and power because I'm trying to figure out and I'm, you know, trying to understand what to say over here, what not to say over here. But at the same time, what you gain is a sense of power, a sense of awareness, an understanding of where you're at, of what's...
What I'm hyper aware of is that people who can see, or I don't know if they can see it, it's really annoying. Anywhere I go, people look at me. And I'm like, I don't know if they can see the power that I have inside or what I'm aware of. Yeah. It's that. Yeah. And then I get scared because something in my head that I'm trying to remove says that I'm not supposed to be in this position. Yeah. And I'm trying to remove that like shock element. I think I said it to you in one of my reflections of, no, I'm supposed to be in this room. Yeah. No. I went to the Forbes Radar group networking event, and like the first person I finally worked up the courage to, I was like, I'm way too ghetto to be in here anyway. And she was like, don't say that. She was like, that's not something that you should tell yourself. And that was like the first time that I realized that I always do it. So yeah.
Well, then this will actually lead nicely onto the next part. So let's play with this. Okay, carry on playing with this. I'm gonna say some sentences, and then I want you to repeat them back. Okay. I may be a fraud, and that's okay.
I may be a fraud, and that's okay.
I may even like being a fraud.
I may even like being a fraud.
I like being a fraud because.
You want me to finish it?
Yeah.
I like being a fraud because I get to, it gives me a shock factor. I'll be honest. It does. I still feel like a fraud, but in a new sense where people meet me and I'm obviously a lot calmer now. When I was 11, I used to throw chairs across my classroom. So I'm a lot calmer. I know how to manage my emotions. A lot of things don't, even if they do trigger me, it won't show. So when, for example, when I went to the show the other day and I came in with my scarf and my green trousers, my turtleneck, and someone, after I performed, he was like, I was thinking, what's this nice girl gonna come and do on the mic? And then you just came and spat that fire. And he called me Lady Lava. And I was like, that's the kind of fraud that I'm comfortable with being, where they just didn't even expect that I was gonna come out with that or say the things that I'm gonna say.
I love being a fraud because.
I love being a fraud because. Sorry, I'm gonna say what came to my head. People don't know I have money, so they won't ask. Until it's public news. But no, I love being a fraud because it gives me the opportunity to like set boundaries and let people in as close. Like it gives me ability to control access to me. And that's not something that I knew I could do before. So, yeah, it's actually really empowering.
And finally, I am a fraud.
I'm a fraud. Yeah, I am. I'm a big one. Honestly, you know, like I'll go somewhere and I normally cover myself. And I'll see someone, I'll be like, I love your tattoos. They're like, oh, thank you. Do you have any tattoos? I'm like, I have 24. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah.
So now let's look at the bringing it together, as it were. So what would it look like to embrace this part of you, to bring it into the holistic, into all of you? What would that look like in your life? And then actually specifically, what could that look like in your business?
I think giving myself permission to be a fraud means that I can still operate from my kind and loving nature. But the fraud part of it is that if you do cross me, or if I sense that, then you will meet the other side of me that you never even knew existed, because she just seems so sweet. Which is why I think it's easy for people to like try and paint that narrative of me when they meet my other side. Because it's like, look, she's always being kind and stuff, but that's not actually who she is. And it's like, no, it is. But you just met that side of me because of what you did, but I don't have to say that. So yeah, that's how it will literally play out in my life. And in my business, on the call that I was in yesterday, it's a sales funnel training for just Black women. And in my cohort, luckily there's only 4 of us. And I'm the only girl in the UK. So the facilitator, me, we're British, and then everyone else is American. So they've been talking about like how actually wild it is out there. The lady who runs the training, she got booked to speak for Google, and they accidentally sent her an email that was supposed to go to someone else. And I think they was paying that other person like 3 times what they was paying her. And that's how she found out. And so we're having this conversation about like how much they do belittle us. And so in that sense, I feel like they think I'm so sweet and so kind, and I don't understand my power. And so I'm still gonna come into the meeting and say, hi, I'm Ebony, and then when you try to do that stuff, it's like, no, you're gonna meet the side of me that's like, no, this is what I said my price is, or this is how I said I'm doing the project, or this, being able to stand firm in that sense and not feel bad about it.
So what if you walked into the room?
I'm just gonna say the thing that has shifted inside of me.
Yeah, please.
And it came up in the limiting beliefs exercise I had to do for that training, where I didn't believe I was worthy of being paid for my gifts and stuff because I'd done fraud. And so it's like I've always been in this, I'm so sorry for what I did before, I'm just trying to make up for it. So I will just take any coins that someone's given me because I'm like, at least I'm legit. But no, I'm actually worth what I want to charge and what I don't think I deserve to be paid. But yeah, that's kind of what's shifting inside of me reclaiming, like, oh, I'm a fraud. Still gonna pay me my check.
Because not in spite of, that's one of the reasons why, not the only reason why, that's one of the reasons why.
You just made me realise why I get so triggered and pissed off though when I see leaders who are literally doing fuck shit and then like not succeeding, because it's not the success that I actually hate. I still feel like everyone needs to eat. But maybe when they come from such an egoic state, I don't know how that one works internally, but yeah, I get triggered by it. But now I don't need to anymore. It's not my responsibility.
It's not your responsibility.
It's true.
There's a holistic side this holistic side of business is like, it's the embracing of everything. This is entertainment. This is show business, and bringing all of yourself or whatever you choose to bring at that time as part of the art, without the kind of overthinking and right. So that's when the for just use that term, where the superpower is all over the place because now you're trying to think too much, and it's when you're just authentic, you're true to yourself in the moment. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. Well, yeah, I'm going to do that. And you know what? I'm not going to tell them that because I don't want to. Not because I have to, not because I'm afraid of anything, just because I don't want to.
That was something that I didn't even know I was allowed to do. I'll be honest, I didn't know about consent and boundaries until last year.
It's alright, you get it. It's not when you get it, it's just the fact that you get it, you know?
That's true.
So, yeah, it's important, you know? For yourself. So yeah, there we go. There's that exercise. Anyway, that took up a bit longer than I thought. Was that useful?
It was, seriously.
Yeah. I think that's to link to what you said at the start anyway, in terms of, okay, I'm going to bring my essence into it. I think that was probably the thing.
Yeah. And it, again, balanced it out. So I'm good at doing my shadow work, but then I'm not good at incorporating my shadow after that. Mm-hmm. So I will look at like the darker parts of myself that no one sees, and then I'll be like, no, but I don't really want to touch it. Like I don't want to be that. But then a situation will come where it's like, no, Ebony, mad dog. And for a long time I didn't give myself permission to mad dog, so I'd go home and I'd cry, or I'd smoke, or I'd do whatever. Yeah.
The artist, the great artist creates from the whole scale. No part of them.
Oh, my music. Oh, that's why I quit. Sorry. Or tried to. I tried to quit. Because that's where I get to express the things that I'm too kind to actually say to somebody. Like when I say it to them, I will say it in a way that it's not gonna hurt you or harm you. Like with my exes, I never cussed out none of them, you know, even with all the fuck shit that they did. But then now I can write a song where it's like, you think you're a man and you're really not. Yeah.
But maybe you should cuss people out.
I've been thinking about that, and I saw a post. It was this lady. She was saying like, you keep on denying yourself what you actually want to do.
Yeah. If
you want to cuss people out, if you want to be petty, fucking do it. Because when they're doing it, I'm just sitting here. Like so many people indirect me online, and it's God that will make me find it because I don't always go online. There was a situation where, so remember the people who stole my event?
Yeah.
They came and they did the fashion show part of it in London at my friend's venue. And my friend asked me to work the bar that day. So I walked in while they're getting ready and they're like pissed off, like, why the fuck is she here? Like, we thought we killed her. Cool. Oh my God, how did I lose my train of thought? What was I saying?
Maybe you should cuss people out. Someone said something like that. the lady said you keep denying yourself what you actually want to do.
Yeah, because I spoke to my friend who owned the venue. She's not even my friend. I spoke to the lady who owns the venue, and I was saying, obviously, they stole my event. I spoke to them about it before, and then she created her own project called Embrace. Then she posted something on Instagram on her story about people who complain about people copying their ideas or da 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 da. And I'm like, but we just came off the phone and you didn't say anything to me. And in that moment, I had some things to say. I didn't say anything. I just didn't speak to her. That was it.
Remember the video interview on integrity, right? So I mean, this is what it comes back to, an alignment.
Yeah.
That for me is being true to yourself in the moment. And if you're not, then going back and saying something about it. And in that interview, I asked Townsend, I said, what gets in the way of that? And he said everything. Everything gets in the way of that. You have a competing commitment. Am I going to say what I truly feel, or am I going to go to this, way of being, which is being nice, which is I don't want to be seen as a fool or someone who's, or am I going to be true to myself?
It's something, and you will resonate with this, that we do in our African culture.
100%.
It's so frustrating. This is what I mean in terms of understanding where this thing comes from and this whole performing and masking thing anyway. I'm like, it's home. So now when I literally see it, it frustrates me. And that's why I will tell you, when I watched the Townsend interview, I was upset with him. Because I'm like, you did not need to say that about the bum shirt. But it was his opinion.
I wasn't interpreting that. I was interpreting that he was giving an example, not that he was actually saying that.
But that's why I was like, there's no need for that. Like, there's no cause. It's just, it's rude. But then I'm like, no, it's just his opinion, and he's not saying it to offend you. He's just being himself. And that was something that I don't think I've had the power to do before, where it's been happening recently. Before, if I didn't like something or it wasn't for me, I would just I wouldn't say I don't like it or it's not for me. I was like, oh no, it's fine for you, but I can express my opinion.
Well,
I'm allowed to.
The thing is, in business and what you're doing as a leader, as a facilitator of transformation, it's part of the job, and people want to hear that, believe it or not. You said it started earlier saying, well, I don't, I might make people feel uncomfortable. People not only want to hear, they need to hear. And it's up to them whether they take it or not, because ultimately it's your opinion.
Yeah.
And a very simple thing you can do is you can just ask for permission. So you can, if you are called to share something in a moment, say, hey, lean into it. I would like to share this thing with you. I feel awkward in sharing it. Do you want to hear it? If you don't, I won't say it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
Or are you open is another way of phrasing it. Like, are you open?
Yeah.
And genuinely, if you are not open, you don't hear it, I will not say it.
Okay, let me remember at the sit down, when they ask about pet peeves and I shared mine. And then there was this kind of awkward silence in the room, because for a lot of people, they're probably in that state of they haven't cultivated patience or understanding divine timing, and that if you're stuck in traffic or if the train has to stop, it's just what happens, and it's probably happening for a reason as well. So I've obviously made that comment, and a lot of people are just like, it's that reaction that I always wanted to avoid, because I'm like, okay, where do we go from here? Because now I even have to go into the explanation of, well, I don't see it that way, because I feel like there's been times where if I did a pause, I wouldn't have seen that bag blow in the wind. I don't know, or that bird fly overhead, or things like that.
That's that over-explaining. That's that, I don't want to be seen as...
I don't know why I'm so scared to trigger people, and I'm literally a walking trigger.
Well, it's you've obviously talked a little bit about your past today. It's understandable.
Why, actually.
So...
It's because of my dad.
Yeah, but it's
the reaction that I've gotten to triggering someone before.
Yeah, that's fine. And it's cool. It's cool to know why, but ultimately what changes in the moment. Now, in the moment, you have the possibility to shift your being, to do something differently. You don't have to respond in the same ways that you did before. You could, and it's okay to be aware of it. That fear or that, okay, I have to explain myself, it's not going to go away. Just noticing it. If I was to give you one assignment, anything, is just notice when you start doing that. I'm not even saying to change it in the moment, just notice it as it's happening. It's like, oh, I'm doing that thing. Like, oh, I feel like I need to say like 10 extra sentences rather than just like, no.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Full stop.
Oh my gosh, I need to do that.
Someone told me this, Ray Keane, famous ex-footballer, pundit, he said, no is a full sentence.
You know, I was just writing that down. Literally. I swear.
That's crazy, I didn't
know you was
Hey, listen, that's the alignment. That's how it works, yeah.
Literally.
So, wow, that's what, if you just practice that, notice when you're going into and just sit with that. No is a full sentence. What is true to myself in this moment? What is integrity? It'll be one of the most challenging things that you'll do. Honestly, but this is everything. In business, this is everything. Because you're going to go into these conversations and it's like, oh, I don't want to be seen as someone who just cares about money, or I don't want to be seen as someone who, who doesn't care about people. I don't want to be seen as someone,
Yeah.
You have to lean into that. And then you have to speak what's true to you in the moment. That's how you bring your essence. Same thing is going to happen when you're telling your story online, or like, people's going to look at me this way, people's going to see me as this way. But to thine own soul be true. You have to be in integrity, especially do the work you're doing. How can you do social storytelling and you're not telling your story?
I know.
Doesn't make no sense.
Good point. That's why I'm like this time now.
It's fundamentally out of integrity. It's not in alignment. You have to tell your story. You have to share these things. What you want to share, though, right? In terms of embracing, just to bring together the fraud, just use that terminology, right? What you want to share, but not from fear, but just because some things you don't want to say right now. There's a lot to say. You got a lot going on there.
You know what it was? I feel like I was trying to make sure. This is weird. I was trying to make sure people had enough information to make a choice. So I was kind of telling it from fear of, if you find this out about me after, then maybe you are gonna not work with me or da da da. Because it happened. I made a post on LinkedIn about it, and I felt so bad because I was like, none of these people are horrible. So I said that I was gonna work with you. Well, obviously I didn't see you. I said I was gonna work with a transformational coach, but I told him about Embrace, and he said he doesn't want to work anymore. This was before you changed your mind. I was working with a LinkedIn coach, and I don't remember what she actually said to me about the situation. Oh, I said that I wrote a poem about the Embrace situation, and she was basically like, it's not the time to share your story. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. And then another person, she was like, kind of in the same boat as me. Actually, before I started getting volunteers for my business, she was getting volunteers for hers. But I more approached her on a collaboration basis. And so I told her about Embrace and the situation I was in after she told me about hers. And she was just like, oh, well, I would never do that. And I was like, okay. And then it became like this weird thing. But yeah, I think I was scared of rejection. So I'd rather you know everything and reject me straight up, so I can just be like, okay, fair. Yeah.
And then if that's what you want to do, then do it. There's two kind of final things. There's two final things that just come to mind to share, and one in regards to this inside-out understanding. The principle of consciousness is also the principle of innate mental health. That we are all sitting on innate mental health, that beneath all our scars, love is ever present, unconditional love. There's nothing anyone can ever do to you that can fundamentally impact your well-being in the long term. So the same is also true vice versa. So you have to see that there's nothing you can actually ever say to someone that is going to fundamentally impact their well-being in the long term. It's nothing. They may be annoyed, they may be It's their right. They have thoughts, but thoughts come and thoughts go. Thought is temporary. Thought is always changeable. But the constant is that underlying love. Is that underlying.
My whole life, I've been taking responsibility for my birth or blame. And so I was speaking to my mum the other day, and she's standing up in front of me, and she's like, I'm even gonna act this one out. So she's like, oh yeah, I remember back in the day, we all used to chill in McDonald's alleyway. Da, 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 da. Yeah, those were the good days. Well, they were until she left the room. Literally. Obviously, she was 16 when she got pregnant, so we know what that's going to be like. They're going to spread rumors at school, da 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 da. But I've always taken that on. And so that, like, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I think I am overly conscious of how I impact somebody, which is why I'm so bad at asking for help, because I feel like a burden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that goes against nature. What other people think of you is none of your business. Like, it's got nothing to do with you. I don't know if I've ever sent you the separate realities video.
Yeah.
You just watch it again. We're all creating our own reality. As I said in the beginning, when I was doing inside out understanding. It's always inside out. You're creating me, I'm creating you, your mom's creating you. You know, have you ever heard that thing? There's 4 people inside every relationship. There's me, you, then there's what you think of me, and then there's what I think of you.
Yeah.
Right?
I've never heard that before.
so there's you, your mom, what you think of your mom, and what your mom thinks of you. And these things are not, they're not connected. And you don't have any responsibility for what your mom thinks of you. You cannot change that. So trying to think about that means you're trying to do a job that's not yours, and when you try and do a job that's not yours, it's just stressful because you can never do that job. You can never change the way someone thinks of you. Paradoxically though, the more you focus on yourself, shifting in yourself, being in integrity with yourself, being true to yourself, the more actually people's opinions of you, they just change by itself. You don't have to do anything. It's just kind of how it works, and if it doesn't, there's nothing to do with you. So what does that open up to know, or if you lived from what people think of me? It's none of my business. It's not my job.
That was one of my friends said, oh, I've been seeing you singing recently. You're so free, like you're so inspiring. And I was like, me free? But because I say it and then I become chicken shit of like, what are people going to say about this, or how are they going to interpret this or that? So it will just remove all of that, and I could create and love the things that I create and enjoy them, and share it without worrying about who it's going to trigger. When I made a Bashment song, obviously Bashment can be quite vulgar, so the song was a little bit vulgar, and I played it for my friend and then her friend and her friend's man. But I went to primary school with her friend's man. So now I'm sitting there and the song's playing and I'm literally looking down on the floor like this, but every 2 seconds I'm looking up like, how are they reacting? And it's like, there's some, oh, well that shocks me, but this is a good song. There's another like, oh, that shocks me and I didn't know you was that type of girl. And then there's like just the different, and I pay attention to that stuff a lot. Like I read body language and all of that stuff. And I think it's a good thing, but I also will make it my responsibility of, oh, why did she react like this? Or why is it something that I did and all of that?
Yeah, something to do. The artist exists on the edge. You said someone said Lady Gaga to you. I was thinking, it's funny before you said that, I was thinking about Lady Gaga. I was thinking about you reminding me of Lady Gaga. And I was thinking, I told you to watch A Star Is Born as well.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
So, you have to go and watch it. But it just made me think, like, the artist exists on the edge of expression. The artist exists on the edge of uncomfortability.
Sure.
So if you really want to play this game, if you want to live into the fullness of who you are and your expression, it's non-negotiable that you are going to be on that edge of fear, of right what people
Yeah.
think. That's where you're gonna live. It's just changing your relationship with it instead of making it wrong or something you run away from. Is to lean into it. Is to be with it. Is to know if you actually don't have those fears, you're not expressing you need to express more. If there isn't that fear of like, oh my God, what's someone gonna say, or can I say? That's where that's where you need to be in your expression, in your business, in your life. You know, that's an indicator. So instead of it being something to run away from, or that actually becomes the indicator for you. Oh yeah, this is present. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, that's true. I can do that.
Good.
Everything like it comes up and I'm like, okay, step forward instead of go back.
Instead of going
into
back.
that. I'm notorious for like trying to push. Like I literally will go like this
Yeah,
and try and put my head back into my tail.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I have to stop.
Lean into it. Yeah, that's where the gold is, you know. The Joseph Campbell quote: "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek." That 50,000 is on the other side of that expression, whether that's expression telling your story, whether that's expression in conversation with people. The money's all on the other side of that.
With this 50,000, by the way, I could pay all my personal and business expenses for a year.